Can we rise?
Goeienaand, good evening, Molweni Nonke. Greetings, comrades and friends, beloved sisters and brothers, respected elders. My name is Faiez Jacobs, ANC member and good friend of Maurencia Gillion. Tonight, we are here to pay tribute to the life and legacy and time of our beloved comrade and friend, Maurencia Gillion. Tonight is an online memorial. And without wasting time, I want to welcome each and every one of you to today's program. On behalf of the family, the Gillion family, we want to extend our warm welcome to all of you. We know that it was very sudden a few days ago where our beloved sister has been taken from us. We will have a short program, and we invite all of you to participate in the program, to give thanks and to also celebrate the life and time and the legacy of our beloved comrade. We will start opening with a prayer. So what we'll do is I'm going to hand over to Llewellyn McMasters that will open the formal program with a prayer. Llewellyn.
Thank you very much, Faiez, and good evening to everyone, especially to the close family of Maurencia. Indeed, I was also one of the many people, I think, that was shocked by her sudden death. But I think we are here to celebrate her life, to celebrate the commitment she had. And it's an honor for me to open this with a word of prayer. But I'd like to also, as a word of encouragement, just read from Psalm 121, especially for the family and friends and comrades. When the psalmist says, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he watches over Israel he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and your going, both now and forevermore. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you that we can come to you in every moment and at every occasion in our lives. With the psalmist, Lord, we acknowledge you as the maker, the creator God, the one who created everything in beauty, the one who created us as human beings as the crown of your creation, bestowing on us the things that we need to do what you have called us to do, to take care of Earth, of the planet, of the world. And thank you that we can celebrate the life of somebody who have listened to your calling and who have been obedient to that call. We thank you, Lord, for the life of Maurencia. When we, Lord, look back on her life, we see a life of service. We see a life of sacrifice. And we know that she understood to glorify her Creator, she must give her life in service for His creation, for humanity. I thank you for a love for this country, Lord, a beautiful country that you've given us. Despite all the challenges and the problems, she has shown us that when you call us to be the light of the earth and the salt of the earth, that it means that we've got to dirty our hands when needed and where needed, but also not to lose touch of humanity, making sure that whoever crosses a path should feel that here's somebody that respects me as a human being, as a person. Father God, when we say this and when we pray this, we know that this may be one of our big challenges, that we have lost our humanity, our humanness. We have allowed forces of darkness and evil, Lord, to rule, but still call us. This is our time. This is our world. This is where you have called us to shine, to give taste. Help us, Lord, to honor her legacy through our own commitment, not just to a party, a political party, but first and foremost to the people of this country. Father God, we pray for a family that you will strengthen them with your heavenly power and strength, Lord, in this difficult time. Comfort them, Lord, as only you can do. I ask your blessing over this meeting, Lord, and thank you that we can virtually meet and be connected to one another. As we hold hands, Lord, we remember the songs we have sung when we struggled. We shall overcome. The truth shall set us free. Justice will prevail. We will walk hand in hand. Strengthen our commitment, Lord. We ask this in your precious name and with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen and amen. Thank you, Father McMaster Llewellyn. Dankie my kameraad. Dankie onze vriend for opening the prayers. We're going to go. We're not sure what is happening. Comrade Kenny, we're viewing your screen, but we'll move on. Comrade Kenny, if you can just close your screen. Thank you. There we're back. So what we'll do now, we'll go live to Houston, to the ancestral home of our beloved Comrade Maurencia, and we'll ask the family, Nadia, Williams, Adrian, the sister, and all the family in Houston, to light up the candle. And if you have a candle in your room or where you are, can we ask that you also light up a candle? So we'll start the proceedings by lighting up a candle in remembrance of our beloved comrade. So I want to invite you, if you do have a candle in front of you, and Adrian, you can put on your mic and then you can lead us into the proceeding. Adrian, over to you. Adrian. We light this candle in memory of Comrade Maurencia Gillion. This whole session, this whole evening, we want to dedicate to her memory and her life and experience as a comrade, as an activist, as a friend, as a mother figure, as an aunt, as a sister, played all of these roles. So we'll keep the candle burning while we get input from different people. Thank you, Adrian. So what we'll do, we'll just leave the candle, continue burning. We know we have load shedding in our midst, but we'll keep out the candle burning. I'm going to invite, we're just playing around with the order. So I'm going to invite Ambassador Dango. He's also in Pelican Park. He's coming live to us from Pelican Park. He is a colleague and friend that worked with Maurencia, and he speaks on behalf of Parliament, the National Council of Province. So Ambassador Dango, in fact, all the speakers that's going to speak, if I can ask you respectfully to just short, sharp inputs. There's a few of us who want to say a few words, but we don't want to have a long out program. So over to you, Ambassador Dango. The floor is yours.
Thank you very, very much. I am in Acacia Park, not Pelican Park.
Maurencia used to stay in Pelican Park. That's why I got it wrong. But please proceed.
Yeah. Comrade Maurencia was a stalwart of the movement and the MDM. She cut her teeth in the MDM structures during the 80s as a youth, woman, and community activist. Although Maurencia was a provincial leader for the past decade, first as Deputy Provincial Secretary, then as the Provincial Treasurer, then as a member of the IPC, and then she was always rooted in a community that she came from, and she always spoke to us and to me over tea and coffee, over Orson and the challenges of the people of Overberg. Maurencia was a branch leader, a regional leader, and a provincial leader. After the unbanning of the ANC and since democracy, Maurencia remained not just a community activist, but was a public representative for almost 3 decades as a councillor, mayor, district mayor, MPL, and MP in the NCOP, where I got to know her, work with her, walked alongside with her, shared tea with her, and shared many other experiences with her. She was also a leader and spoke very often about the Women's League. The Maurencia I knew in the short space of time was not an intellectual leader. She was a forthright, honest, and simple community-based activist, feisty and principled at the same time. Concerned always about the community that she came from, about fishing rights, about fishing quotas, the challenges that the fishing communities experienced in South Africa. She was a simple person who liked simple things, her extended family, a community, and sometimes the cigarettes and coke and monthly hairdo. But as we think of Maurencia, we must think of the classical, feisty, working class, rural woman, activist, mother, grandmother, feisty, principled, hardworking, and steadfast. When I reflect on the short period that I knew her, I'm reminded of the words of Cabral, who said, always remember, the people are not fighting for ideas in the head, for the things in anyone's head. They are fighting to win material benefits, to live better in peace, and to see the lives go forward, guarantee the future of their children. Maurencia remains a true working class hero, and let us celebrate your life, emulate your life, and actually carry on and carry the torch that she was carrying for the poor, for the downtrodden, particularly the fishing communities that she spoke so often about. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Dango, for those kind words, those words of wisdom. We really appreciate that. Yes, Maurencia was the working class leader. Yes, she was the rural champion. Yes, she was the women's leader, but she was a friend and a comrade to all of us. I'm going to invite, I'm going to put you on the spot, everybody, so I know those that have already agreed to speak. So I'm going to ask Comrade Cameron Dagmo, who's our official leader of opposition in the provincial government and also the ANC representative tonight, to be the next speaker. And then I'm going to ask Jackie to ready herself after Cameron. So Cameron, I want to invite you to pay a tribute to our beloved comrade. Over to you, Comrade Cameron.
Thank you very much, Comrade Program Director, Comrade Faiez, and all the comrades joined. I'm sorry I can't switch on my camera for some reason. It just doesn't allow me to go live. But as Comrade Faiez said, I would like to formally bring greetings from the ANC IPC in the province, and also commend and salute the funeral committee and Comrade Faiez in particular for initiating this session tonight, where we can share memories and talk about the legacy of Comrade Maurencia, her life, and also draw lessons from that. I want to say at the outset that the IPC, like all of us, were completely shocked and devastated when we heard the news of Comrade Maurencia on the 28th of February. I think it was unreal, and I know from personal experience a number of comrades who have just called and indicated how they are feeling, the loss that they feel, the sadness, was, I think, one of the major attributes of Comrade Maurencia. I don't know how she managed it, but she seemed to be able to, in the midst of everything that was going on, and Comrade Ambassador Dango has talked about her responsibilities at the time of her death. A very active role chairing an NCOP portfolio committee, being on the IPC, helping on the fishing desk, serving her constituency in Theewaterskloof. She managed just to keep in touch with people. So many people say they had been engaging her, they were going to go and visit at the weekend or spend the weekend at the Pelican Park house. And I think she had a very special quality of actually staying in touch with people, being concerned about their lives, being concerned about the organization. And this really was something very, very special about Comrade Maurencia. Just to say that we haven't just lost a comrade, we've really lost a leader. And Comrade Maurencia led in so many ways. She truly was outstanding in her position in the NCOP. She had this ability of mobilizing people, mobilizing staff, making sure that she was prepared for the meetings that she participated in, being fully aware of the politics that were going on in the NCOP, given that the Western Cape ANC delegation is not the majority delegation from the Western Cape, having to manage situations when the NCOP went out to visit, making sure that comrades were informed and would also be able to participate in those NCOP and parliamentary weeks that were held. I also want to say that the IPC has initiated a funeral committee, and also the family, and I'm very happy that the family is part of this session tonight. The family have allocated our program director for tonight, Comrade Faiez, as the spokesperson, and I've been asked by the provincial coordinator to convene the funeral committee. So in terms of what is planned, which I just want to deal with first, just so that comrades are aware and they can spread the message, is that there is going to be a regional and local memorial service organized by the branch in Houston together with the region. And then on Thursday, there's going to be an ANC provincial memorial service in the metro. Those details will be communicated. And then the actual funeral of Comrade Maurencia will take place in Houston on Saturday. So I just wanted to give you a sense. I also know the Women's League is planning a blouse ceremony to hand over the blouse to the family. And there are a number of other activities that comrades are planning and so on. And I think that what we are saying from the IPC is that we encourage people to go to the house in Pelican Park, where some of Comrade Maurencia's extended family are there, and also if they have time to visit the family home in Houston to pay condolences. The family have also requested us as the ANC to initiate the process to apply for an official provincial state funeral. And yesterday I sent a letter to the Premier because the procedure is that the motivation is made to the Premier of a province, and then the Premier makes that request to the President, and the Premier had today that he would be in the process of sharing that motivation with the President. Ultimately, it's the President's decision, and we are very positive about the outcomes in that regard. So I just wanted to first indicate the initiatives that have been taken. I also want to specifically commend the National Council of Provinces, the chairperson, the staff who have engaged with the family and assisted them in dealing with the administration that is required after we lose a comrade from Parliament. Faiez has asked us to be short, so the second part of what I want to say is just very brief about Maurencia and the organization. I think anyone in the ANC in this province knows very well about the contribution that Maurencia has made to the organization. Comrade Dango also spoke to the role that she has played at different levels of the organization, and in particular as a senior provincial leader, being our provincial deputy secretary, being the provincial treasurer, and then also serving now on the IPC. But I think given the challenges that the organization faces, and those of you that were at the national conference and the adjourned conference would have full understanding of the fact that one of our key challenges as this movement is to renew ourselves, not just in word, but in the way we conduct ourselves, the way we protect state resources, the way state resources are allocated, but also to renew the way that we do things in the organization, to combat the deep-seated factionalism, which in many ways has gripped our province, to understand that there's nothing wrong with having a view, and Maurencia definitely did have views, and having a perspective and lobbying for that perspective and trying to win comrades to a perspective before a branch election or regional or provincial or national. But when those perspectives become entrenched as factions, that is when our organization begins to seriously face challenges of division. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt that Comrade Maurencia understood the difference. She was very active in lobbying for a position around leadership or position around the fishing industry. But, you know, that would not become a permanent faction that she was part of. She would engage and try and look at what do we need as the organization, whether it's in regard to policy or leadership. And I think for me, that's a lesson. I think the second lesson that all of us as ANC members can learn is that Maurencia actually had a genuine constituency. She had support in the ANC structures, otherwise she wouldn't have been elected to the positions that she was elected, but she also had a constituency broader than the ANC, whether it was in the fishing communities, whether it was with NGOs that she was assisting in regard to feeding during COVID and before and after, but she managed to build a constituency. And I think the lesson out of that is, you know, we might be 750,000 ANC members in the country at the moment, but we are trying to unite our nation as a whole, to build unity across race, across culture, across religion. And Maurencia actually managed to build support beyond the ANC. And I think that is a lesson to all of us, that we need to be active and strong and build our movement, the ANC, and be part of its structures. But we also need to reach out to the broader community. The third issue for me is that Maurencia always put her family first. And Maurencia had an extended family. A lot of her time was actually spent supporting the young children of her extended family in what they were trying to achieve, whether it was through studies. So she was a very family orientated person, and she had a very tight, loyal group of friends that gave her support and comfort in the highs and lows that all of us experience in the ANC. We go through times of hope, we go through times of despair, but Maurencia had a support network around her. And then the last issue is that Comrade Maurencia wasn't naive about the problems in the ANC. At times, I think she was cynical, like many of us are, when we look at the challenges facing our movement. But she never lost the belief that our movement remains the best vehicle in terms of taking the national democratic revolution forward, in particular the interests of the rural poor, working people, and actually winning back the integrity and the trust that our movement has had. And therefore, she would take positions about what she thinks we needed at the national conference, but at the same time be very, very critical. And we have declared in the January the 8th statement that this year is about actually taking decisive action in the interests of the people. And that was Maurencia. She wasn't, yes, she, as all of us fondly know, she would sit at her table, wherever that table was, especially if it was Pelican Park. She would have a 2-liter Coke. She would have fully charged cell phones. She would have a packet of Rothmans or maybe more. And she would really get to work organizing incredible, amazing things. So she was actually doing what the January the 8th statement asks us to do and compels us to do, which was to take decisive action in the interests of our people. In conclusion, you know, it was so sad because on the 28th, when Comrade Maurencia passed away, we just got the news that the Chucky boats in Strathspey and Arneson, who had their rights removed previously, line fishing rights, on appeal to Comrade Minister Creasy, had actually regained those rights. And I know that Maurencia, you know, would have, you know, had an incredibly warm laugh and happiness about that. But I also know she probably would have said, "Maar dis nie oor nie, dis die lynvis, maar wat van die small scale, wat van die ander sectors?" And that was Maurencia, you know, always achieving a particular thing, but then saying, what is the next step? What do we need to do? So I think Maurencia is an example to all of us. I don't know how we're going to replace her leadership, her championship of the rural communities in particular, but Maurencia had a broad network in the metro as well and across our country. So it is really a loss for our movement. But as we say, Hamagahle, Comrade Maurencia, farewell Titi. Ons gaan nie die stryd opgooi vir 'n beter lewe vir al ons mense, en ons gaan vir jou altyd onthou on ons drome, ons daaglikse lewe, because you will forever be an inspiration to all of us. We miss you, and we don't know how we're going to get by without everything that you were. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you, Comrade Cameron. Thank you for those words, very instructive words. We appreciate that message on behalf of the ANC. Key lessons there. Ons gaan inderdaad wat Titi mis. And you speak, I think everybody speaks about the 2-liter Coke and the cigarettes, but she was a formidable person. She was always there to help. Her home was always the base for everybody. One of those people that was really close to Maurencia. In fact, all of us, Maurencia treated all of us like friends or comrades. She always had a place. Even if I was full, even if I didn't need to eat, I always came into the house. She always gave us something that was out at its. And that was a home that she had. She always loved, her love language was food. So I'm going to ask Comrade Jackie from Mossel by Comrade Jackie Pedro, who's a comrade in her own right, chairperson of one of our branches there, but also a close friend and confidant of Comrade Maurencia to say a few words as a friend. Comrades, if you want to say a few words, I think we have an open process. So just DM me, send me a message. We're getting another speaker after Jackie. I think it's Miranda. And then thereafter Miranda, we'll ask Raymond, the chief whip and the representative of the Overberg, to say a few words. But feel free, if you want to speak, also just let me know so that we can do the order. The last person will be the vote of thanks by Grant, the Gillion, the brother of Maurencia. So Jackie, over to you. Ek weet jy is nervous, but we really appreciate the fact that jy kan ook 'n paar woorde sê. Baie dankie. Over to you, Jackie. Jackie, your mic is nog nie aan nie. Just unmute, Jackie.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening, Program Director, the family, comrades and friends of Comrade Maurencia. Saying something about Maurencia while I'm in deep pain and my heart is really bleeding. It is so difficult, but although there is so much to say about Maurencia. In 2018, when Nico introduced me to Maurencia, I was a bit nervous. So Nico said to me, "Don't worry, she's a Eastervrouw. You will like her." So Maurencia was not only a comrade to me, she was a friend, a sister, a mentor, and a mother to me. The support she gave me during Nico's illness, as well as his passing, was much appreciated. Her door was always open, even during Nico's stays in hospital. I stayed with her with no time limit. Maurencia was one of the most unselfish, humble persons that I've ever known, helping so much young people towards further education and the help and love for the poor community. When I think of Maurencia, this came to mind: honest, brave, dedicated, hardworking, and outstanding. I remember with the December conference in Joburg, she was not well at all and was on oxygen for some time in the medical center that specific day. That night after conference, she struggled to walk towards the buses, and I was with her the whole time. I was so worried about Maurencia, but the next morning, she was on her way to the venue. Maurencia, you will always be in my heart. I know and I can imagine the reunion and the welcome in heaven will be very, very sweet. Your family, Winston, Nico, Jovan, and Wayne is waiting for you at the gate. Hambakashle, my sister, from your rural sister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Jackie. Really appreciate those words from the heartfelt. Yes, she will be missed by all of us. I'm going to ask Tumelo Pizzo while we wait for other comrades to put his mic on and say a few words. If there's anyone that would like to talk, just give me a sense. But Comrade Tumelo, you will be next.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson of the session, for the opportunity. Well, I want to say that, we have been borrowed an angel by the name of Maurice. And what I like about her is that she had a servanthood heart in the struggle of the organization. At the center, she put the people first, you know. And I want to say that I wish her spirit could multiply, because in the organization we need such people like Maurice, like the last speaker has spoken. I mean, in terms of the organization, I know that she always wanted the organization to multiply. She always worked hard in terms of in organizing so that the organization can multiply, you know. And you know, in the renewal process that we are embarking as the ANC, I think it's very important that we do things differently. I want to reiterate the words that has been spoken by my fellow participant. And we all see that the ANC it's the numbers are dwindling each and every time. So I think it's upon us that we pick up the battle in terms of organizing further, in terms of organizing much better, because we know that the pulse at the ground of the ANC, I mean, it beats louder than any other party in terms of how the people respond. You know, the people just want us to renew the way we do things. I mean, they know that they come very far with the ANC. So let's continue the struggle in terms of organizing. And in Sesotho se re lefu ke ngwetsi ya malapa ohle. Death hits every home, and I know it's very hard for the family to bear at this moment, but I want to say to them, be encouraged and be strong. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Comrade Pitso. We really appreciate your kind words. Comrades, I see Comrade Reverend Dorothy Gope, so I'm going to acknowledge her. I want to just check, we're just going to do the order. So Miranda, are you on the platform? If not, then I'll give to Comrade Dorothy.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
it's Mandy on
okay.
I am here.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Miranda, over to you. Miranda, as we all know, is a close, long-standing, confident, and ally and comrade of Maurencia. So thank you for making time, Miranda, and speaking. Over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Nana, and the good evening, Nana, and the Gillion family, and everybody else that's here. It's a rare, jammerte dat ons moet so by mekaar kom, maar ons sal mekaar sien in die next paar dae. I think I just want to harp on the fact that Maurencia and I argued most of the time, but we could bounce back. There was always fights with Maurencia, and the fight would always be about Mandy, die rural mense is baie belangrik, dis my mense dit. Because when we had programs, she would always make it very clear that the rural area is vast, Metro is small. Why do you identify Metro and give Metro more money than the rural areas? It was always about that. And for me, Maurencia, the other day, I mean, I slept there the other night with Erlen, and the public works people that clean around came in, and the woman said to me, "Mens sal nooit gesê dit dat jou vrou was a member of parliament." She was the most humblest person. Sy was soos ons gewees, and that is absolutely correct. Sy was soos ons. Sy het gelewe soos ons. Also the fact that she had this program running with Cammy and the children and Nana het kos gemaak, Bob het dit gedoen. Almal in die huis, myntjie, hulle almal het kos gemaak vir die kinders around, but they were there. She wasn't just a member of parliament speaking loudly she was actually serving her community, always serving. She was a true servant of the people. She served her family, her extended family. So many people are orphaned. She don't have any biological children, but so many people and children are orphaned because of Maurencia. I don't know how we're going to continue the legacy. And I think Cameron was also very worried about Mandy. How about her children? That was my first thought. Her kindness, not hers biologically. But I want to say thank you to the family that has given us Maurencia. It wasn't yours. At the hotel, when I got there to the hotel, the members of parliament was more in shock, the NCOP members. They could not believe what has happened. She went down at 10 to 2 to go have a smoke. Comrade Sylvia told her, can you stop? I think everybody told her, can you stop? But she says, it's 10 to 2. I'll come up at 2 o'clock. She went to go smoke. She came back. Everybody was commending on how happy she was that day, how engaging she was in the strat plan meeting. It was just a shock. It's still unbelievable. We don't want to believe, but I can just say the one thing is death is so final, and we must live like Maurencia lived: share, care, kind. That was the motto. Thank you, comrades. Thank you, comrade.
Thank you, Miranda. Yes, indeed. We were there on the day. Myself and Kaya and the members of parliament, we were in the Good Hope chambers, and our chief whip called us out, and the Western Cape delegates, and we got the news, and we all rushed. And everybody at the NCOP was saying how she contributed, how she was feisty. She said that the NCOP was not doing enough. There were even the Braambi, the chair of the NCOP, was speaking of her contributions. So she literally passed on with the boots on. And it's true, your message about what it means to be a comrade is to care, to share, to love properly. Sometimes we have all of these unnecessary differences, and I think we must make peace in service of our people. So thank you, Comrade Miranda. I know she was very close to you. The two of you are also very inseparable. But that was the nature of Maurencia. She made all of us individually feel special. She had time for all of us, and she made all of us feel that we were her best friends. Comrade Dorothy, I'm going to give you a chance, and then I am concerned about the Overberg. So if Raymond or a representative from the region could just indicate, then you'll speak after Dorothy. Comrade Gope, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson of the session. I won't take very much time because I can see we are only left with 40 minutes now. I want to speak on behalf of the chaplaincy that we have lost a member because she was one of the people that helped us in building the chaplaincy in all the regions. And I started with Maurencia when I was an organizer of the Women's League, a provincial organizer. She was still working for APSA, and she was the regional person representing the region. I think she was at that time, she was the regional chair. And Maurencia has contributed a lot. ANC was her everything. Sy sal alles doen vir die ANC. And I served with her in the Women's League. I served with her in the legislature. And I remember in the legislature when we scrutinized the budget of all the committees that we served on, she would take a microscope and look for the rural areas, how much are they getting versus the metros and so on. She would make an example of a typical rural area and how they are struggling and so on. Sy het nie haar mond gehou nie, sy het gepraat en sy het warm geraak as dit kom by rural. And I want to say to her family, it's not only them that has lost, but we also has lost a lot. And the spear has fallen, and family members must get up and pick up that spear. There must be a member that stand in that gap. And I want to say that one thing of Maurencia, she was very respectful. She knew who people that are older than her, although she's serving on an upper level, but she will always respect the elderly. And for me, it was always his daughter. And although I'm a reverend, she would say, I'm sorry, people, but to me, she is his D, and so on. But I want to say that she is now gone to give a report to those that are in front of her. How far are we with the Western Cape? How far are we with the struggle? And what has become in our communities? But long live the spirit of Maurencia Gillion, long live. And I know she will be fighting for us wherever she is going to fight for a rural, she is going to fight for the Western Cape, she is going to fight for women. I thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Gope, Reverend Gope, for those kind words. Long live her spirit, may her memory and legacy live on. Thank you so much. What we'll do, I've got an indication now from Alma. So Alma, I'm going to invite Comrade Alma, also one of our close friends. Alma, you may address us. And if there's anyone else, please give me indication. Otherwise, we'll wrap up.
Thanks, Comrade Faiez. Thanks, Comrade Faiez. Good evening, comrades and the Gillion family. Ek het vir haar geken as Titi. Ek het baie weinig haar naam genoem, Maurencia. I just had that relationship with her that I could call her Titi and she would call me Auntie Alma. That was our relationship. I met Maurencia in 2015 when I was still a volunteer at the ANC, working with Cameron. Maurencia was there. We immediately just connected. I think there was something about Maurencia that I just fell in love with. I think it was her personality. She was so open and honest and transparent. Everything she did was transparent. She never shied away from saying if I was right or wrong, or even around us. She was very vocal about things. She saw things were wrong around us. But I think I'm gonna miss most of the Sundays that I spent with her at the village. I mean, we had a ritual that even if I'm not there, she would ask Cameron to bring some lunch over to me. Or she'll send Cameron to come fetch me for the day, and I'll spend the afternoon there with Winston when Winston was still alive, and Winston's brother from Paul, his family would be there, and we would spend the day and we would just have fun, you know. So my reflections is mostly just about the time that I spent with Maurencia. It was very precious to me, and it will always be part of me. I mean, I've met Maurencia's family when I drove down with her to Boston Bay to go scatter Winston's ashes 2 years ago. I was with her. I met her dad. I met the sister that was staying with her for a while. Andre, Jovan. I met all of them. So I felt somehow connected to her through them. I mean, I connected with them through her because she opened the home to all of us, like most of the speakers said. She had an open door policy. She would invite the kids. I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, when she organized something for the domestic workers over the road there in Pelican Park with myself. We went over there. I think Lynn was with still Lynn Abrams, and a few of us, we went to go feed the domestic workers because we knew their struggles. That was the type of person Maurencia was. no challenge was too big for her. If you came to her with the issue to her, she would somehow either address it directly or she would get other people to assist. But she was always part of it. I mean, I remember fondly the drive that we took to Faiez talk when we went to go to the old people to do their feet, give them a pamper day. I remember those are the things, the days that we spent at the flat in Hope Street in Cape Town. Those are all the memories that will, I mean, I lie awake at night since Tuesday and I reflect on all those and I just start bursting crying because she was baie special for me. I'm sorry. She was baie special for me. And she'll always be special for me, even if she's no longer here. She will always have a spot in my life. I will always remember Maurencia. Thanks, Faiez. Bye, dankie.
Thank you, Comrade Alma. It's all those small things that we remember when the person is no longer there. We all have our special fun memory of Maurencia and the times we had with her, the laughter. She was a mens, a real person. What you see is what you got. She couldn't hide. I say quarters for you. I say before for you. She couldn't pretend or be diplomatic, and she would let you know. And those that crossed the path, you'd know that she's not happy with you. But when she was warm with you, it was generous with her time, generous with everything she had. You know, we had a party for her, and Khalid was reminding me that we had a small party for her, and she was so shocked that people can also care for her. So I want to also acknowledge that. Is there any other speakers? Okay, I'm just going to invite Anika to read a poem.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Let me start off by conveying my condolences to the Gillion family, who most I have already met through my years that I know Maurencia. I met Maurencia probably about 14 years ago because I work in the local government sector, and at the time Maurencia was the mayor. And I work for the local government sector, so my focus is around training. But over the years, and one special friend that we had in common was Winston. And that is where I really saluted Maurencia and we really connected. And I think two words for me that describe Maurencia, I know people used a lot of words, was she was authentic and she was a servant leader. Maurencia was a sharpshooter. If she wanted to tell you something, she did. Daar was sy nog doekies omgedraai nie. But I thought, I know I was not on the program, but I thought that I wanted to read this poem. About 2 years ago, we lost our mother, and this was one of the poems that we read at her funeral. And I thought, because Maurencia has been a mother to many, I think it is befitting to dedicate this poem to her as well this evening. So it goes as follows, and it starts, it's a poem by David Hawkins, and it is She Is Gone. And it says, you can shed tears that she is gone, or you can smile because she has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that she'll come back, or you can open your eyes and see all she has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see her, or you can't be full of the love you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember her and only that she's gone, or you can cherish her memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what she wants. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. Hambagahle Maurencia, we will miss you. Thank you to your family for sharing you with us. Thank you for sacrificing all of you for all of us. We appreciate you. I think in death, sometimes we realize we haven't said it enough, but I know that you know you were loved. And today we want to honor you. And throughout this week, we will honor you. And we will continue to smile. We will open our eyes. We will love. And we will go on serving our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Anika. Beautiful poem. We'll share that poem. Let's smile. Let's smile at Maurencia's memory. Let's smile at the role that she has played. I see Cameron's hand.
Yeah, Comrade Faiez, it was just that Comrade Ayanda has indicated on the chat group that she would like to say something. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I'm seeing it now. Yes, I'm seeing it. Comrade Ayanda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening to you and good evening to everyone. I'm trying to open up my video here, Chair, because I think it's very important that the family must see me today, but it seems my video doesn't want to open. Either way, Chair, it will be very much unfair if I don't say something today, because I felt very shocked the day when we got the news of Comrade Maurencia. I think Comrade Bonnie at legislature was running around and telling us she got a call from Comrade Mendy saying that Comrade Maurencia fell ill. And I took it very light because I spoke to Comrade Maurencia the previous night. There's a side of her that I got to know. I can speak Afrikaans very well, very well. And Comrade Maurencia, we are both from the rural areas. I hail from the Karoo. Comrade Maurencia, each time we are in a meeting, I speak English, she will always pull me and say, hey, praat Afrikaans, jy kan mos Afrikaans praat. And if I said something she didn't like, I would always look at her and she'll say it in Afrikaans. Someone no nonsense praat. That's how she communicated. And I appreciated the fact that when she looked at me, she always looked at me as her child. I think one of the speakers was saying she loved children. I'm one of the young leaders in the ANC. Yes, she saw a leader in me, but she always saw my daughter when she speaks to me, when she addresses me. I would say as any young person, things that young people would say and maybe at times be out of tune, but she would never take it to heart. She would wait for me outside and say, and then she would take it forward. And after that, she'll be like, she really loved the rural people. I was pregnant last year and I had serious complications. I was very sick for the entire term of my pregnancy. In that process, one of the comrades that took my hand and walked the journey with me was Comrade Maurencia. She will check up on me. I saw the baby there on the Gillion family. And she would be like, I took a baba baby. And I know that baby is exactly 4 months older than my child because she will each time remind me, he's so much months now, and there are so much months now. So I appreciated that. Sometimes it gets too cold for us as politicians. And then you find someone like Comrade Maurencia that will tell you it's going to be fine. You know, you keep the straight face as if everything is fine, but then you find the more experienced elder one. She could give that love. And of course, that food. The last one before I close is a day that I will never forget. I went with us to Stellenbosch. We were deployed at Stellenbosch. And Winston was driving us. In the car, I didn't want to eat. And she was like, wat gaat met jou aan? Of is it no, you darkie maniere, julle eet mos nie saam met almal. And I'm like, why are you racist? She said, you call me a racist? And I'm like, I don't want to eat. I like to eat after event. Before event, I want to prepare. She said, no, you can't speak to people when you are hungry, Comrade Ayanda. So I want to join the comrades that say that she always look for you to eat. I took a Uber on my way there. But when I came back, she was like, no. Jy gaan saam met my in Winston ry, ons ry saam met jou tot in die Kaap, because I found them somewhere in town and then we drove together in Paarl. And our way back, she was like, are you Ubering back again? I said, yes, I'm Ubering. She said, not while I'm here. So in her absence, I want to say to the family, At times we get embarrassed for our people, especially when they are public figures, for the things that we do. We get on papers for wrong reasons and all those nasty things. But I want to say to the family, you can walk with a straight face inside the political arena, and you've also given us a mother and somebody that we could always turn to with our problems as well, because it's not always just about politics. We are human beings before we become any politician. And I think Comrade Maurencia had that special place of being a mother and a human being before everything else, and even after everything else. Through all our processes, she could easily just adapt and say, okay, we are moving forward, we are taking hands. So on that note, Chair, thank you very much to the family for borrowing us, Comrade Maurencia. Ek waardeer haar baie en as ek 'n belofte aan haar kan maak, sal ek vanaand vir haar gesê dat ek dink dit is te vergeefs vir die plaaslike gemeenskappe nie. Die rural sal nooit vergeet word. Ons sal ons bes probeer om te vat waar sy gelos het. Baie dankie, voorsitter.
Baie dankie, Comrade Ayanda. Dankie vir die mooi woorde. Okay, we are closely wrapping up. I also don't want to waste too much time. I've seen one hand, so I'm going to give. If you last speakers, I think it's Comrade Pity. I saw your hand. Comrade Lulama, do you want to still say something?
Thank you, Comrade Program Director. It's not Lulama, actually. It's Sipiwo.
Sipiwo.
Yeah, Sipiwo, the husband. Yeah, I just wanted to pay a short tribute also in memory of our fallen leader and comrade. I just want to say that it was really a good experience that I had to have known Comrade Maurencia. We coming a very long way. I think we met around the first democratic local government elections in 2000 and thereafter as councillors, we used to have our special engagements and discussions around the rural areas, as people have correctly said that she would always want us to talk about how and what we can do to improve the rurals and so on. So it was good, actually. Even now, my relationship with her was not that of a person in a personal manner where we would personally engage, and we kind of left each other, and we were not in contact for a long time until she served in the structures of the movement in terms of the provincial structures, where we again met. I know when she comes here in Beaufort, she would always say to Comrade Lulama, "Where's Comrade Pity? I would want to speak to him and see him, and is he fine?" and so on. He really cared about people that she knew, and I was also happy to hear that Comrade Maurencia remembers the days that we used to be together in the provincial platforms of local government at the time. When she requested my wife to say that when she comes here again, and she will definitely be coming soon, I must keep a lamb's boat for her. I'll keep that for you to remember me again. Met I lamb boat for you here and so on. And as you eat, you will then remember that one of the rural areas with the best sheep that you meat that you can get is actually here in the Central Karoo. So yeah, I was looking forward when I heard that Comrade Maurencia will be part of the Regional General Council scheduled for this weekend, tomorrow actually. And I was looking forward to hear that she might be here. And now that this has happened, it's really sad to have lost her. It was a real shock to really know and become aware of her passing. I would also just want to say that may her soul rest in peace, and we're hoping that we will produce as the movement leaders of her caliber, because this is a very challenging time that our organization is facing, and it requires of us to be the kind of leader that she was, a humble leader, a servant leader, and a leader that really cares for its people and so on. She was not one of those who were self-serving, but those who were the humble servants of our communities and so on. So I really would want that we really should put our actions with our words that we are saying when we talk about unity and renewing our organization, that it should be really heartfelt. It should be something that we must live and not just read or speak about it as if we're just reading those things from the documents that we produce as the movement. So yeah, I would say at this point in time, may your soul rest in peace, comrade. And surely that most of our comrades in the province will follow in your footsteps. And I believe that the Central Karoo should also, as we always got the leadership from you, that we will also follow suit and so on. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Pity. Yes, we remember fondly Comrade Pity was a councillor with from Central Karoo. Comrade, I see two hands. I'm going to give both hands, Comrade Wali, Major General Ruoda, and also Comrade Gwena. I'll give those as our last speakers. Then we'll do a vote of thanks that will happen by Maurencia's brother, beloved brother Grant, and then we'll sing Mbakashle, and then we'll close the session with a small collage. So that will be the program. Comrade Wali.
Dank u, Comrade van Faiez. Ik is net geschokt dat toen ik in deze woord dat Maurencia dood is. The last keer, or the last time I saw her, was at the ANC Logotla. And we had long discussions around the renewal, but also how do we rebuild the ANC in the Western Cape. But the other discussion was about her health, because she started having pains on the chest. And I told her, go to the doctor, and when you get back, go to the doctor and sort that nonsense out. So to the family, I'm not going to talk long, because I only met her during, with Winston, during CR17 campaign, with you, Faiez. And I just want to say to the family, Hamagazle, let the soul rest in peace. And she was a good contributor to our struggle, but also to the Western Cape. Thank you.
Baie dankie, Comrade Wali. Kort en kragtig. Yes, ons gaan nou mis. Comrade Gwena, floor is yours.
Good evening, comrades. Thank you, Comrade Faiez. I just want to say condolences to the family and to the ANC at large. And I can't say I was close to Comrade Maurencia, but through Alma and me always helping out, I became close to Comrade, and I became to know her because I didn't really know her. I know her Maurencia, but I didn't know the Comrade like all the other comrades do. But I was amazed last on the 15th was my birthday, and it was a significant birthday, and Comrade Maurencia wished me for my birthday, and it was for me a big thing. I don't know why, but I felt very honored that she actually wished me, and not one person in my branch wished me, except other comrades like Comrade Alma and so forth that I'm very close to actually wished me. But for Comrade Maurencia, that I wasn't even close to wishing me, I felt very special and I felt very honored. And I want to say condolences and really, really, my heart goes out to everyone. Thank you so much, Comrade Faiez, for
Thank you,
arranging
Comrade.
this.
Thank you, Comrade Gwen. Yes, she made us all feel special. Okay, I see now there's the last person sneaking in, Comrade Bridget. You literally got a minute.
Listen a minute, Comrade Faiez. Ik het vir Maurencia gehoord toe Anke Harry my, let Anke Harry my neem na die fishing days toe. En vandaag heb ik met Maurencia geweek. Voor mij is het baie hartseer. Voordat ik weggegaan het zondag, toen bel ik vaak het palaas. Ik heb ja, dus ze mensen voelen lekker niet. Apost zo lekker niet. Maandag aan, toen bel ik van, ik kan zeggen, half uur gesels op je phone. Ze heeft me weer geguide wat ik moet doen, wat ik moet zeggen, wat ik moet maken. En toen ik nou mijn phone, niet heel dag op mijn phone gehad, ik naar de kamer toe gaan. En mijn phone op charge, mijn phone aanzet. Ik het tijden krijg. Mijn baie hartseer, want Maurencia in die fishing sector het Maurencia my geguide. Net die fishing sector wat ewe ek nou gesels het of gepraat het. Dat Maurencia phone opgetel. En my tydjie my gesê, Bridge, doen die, Bridge doen die, Bridge gaan aan wat jy moet doen. Moet jy moeg raak nie. Die fishing sector is die makkelijke sector nie. Ek sê vir my man, ek sê nou vandag, vir wie gaat ek nou skryf, want Maurencia was my, so te sê my steunpilaar. Sy het baie gedoen vir ons visse mense. Die fight vir fishing community is nog nie klaar nie. Wie gaat nou vir ons nou help? Baie dankie vir wat die Here vir ons gespaar het. Vir haar gespaar om daar te wees as 'n steunpilaar, as 'n suster. Al weet wat sy vir ons gegee het. Mens kan nie sonder hy aangaan nie. Ek vra maar vir die Here krag dat ons kan aangaan, want dit is nie vir ons maklik om iemand wat sê so na in jou hart is so gou te verloor nie. Ek weet as 'n bietjie miskien langer as 'n minuut. Dankie, kom net vir iets vir die geleentheid.
Dankie, Bridget. Ja, ons gaan dan baie mis. Die visse mense, rural mense, almal gaan daar baie mis. Comrades, we're going to close now, and I'm going to, there's just 2 or 3 things that we want to do, quick announcements before I hand over to Grant, brother, who's going to do the vote of thanks. We want to acknowledge all of you that at very short notice came to the platform. I mean, yes, people from the presidency, Comrade Arti, the formal spokesperson of the president, colleagues and friends from the parliament, hooggeplaatste mense, yes, NEC members, I want to acknowledge Alvin Bottas, yes, IPC members, members of parliament, all the people, friends, all of you, I acknowledge all of you. I see Comrade Sean also tuning in. All of you staff, we say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the memory of Maurencia. I'm going to invite the brothers just to close and do a vote of thanks. I see also Comrade De Boer Peters. But after the vote of thanks, we're going to just try to play a few clips and tributes and then sing Hamba Kashle. So with that, I want to hand over to you, Comrade Grant, and your lovely family, also in Houston. Your loss is our loss. We met the other day with a family, and it's very difficult. We can imagine from outside, we feel the pain. Nog minder julle. Sy was julle steunpilaar, and yeah, thanks for making available for us. And you have a extended ANC family. So may you lost one sister, but also almal broers and sisters van die ANC. So Grant, over to you with a word of thanks.
Thanks for his. Yeah, I'll try to keep it together for the sake of everybody sitting here. When I listen to the people speaking about Maurencia, they're not only describing Maurencia, they actually describing how we grew up. It started, I believe, with my grandfather, and then went on to my grandmother, where we were taught to be unselfish, and that is something that Maurencia encapsulated. Like our whole growing up It was, you take care of people around you before you take care of yourself. It's something that, like I said, it's something we grew up with. It's like I see Derek also sitting there. It's the best way I can put it is my wife always asked me when we met, why do you have so many uncles and why do you have so many brothers and everybody's your cousin and everybody's your niece? It was because that is what they were. We grew up where my grandfather took in people and they became family. Then my mother took in people and they became family. Then Maurencia is the last one now at the moment that took in people and they became family. So I've got, or we've got dozens of brothers and dozens of sisters. I've got uncles and all of them, or most of them, is not blood related. They are just uncles. Like my newest sister here on the left, Mandy, which also became a sister through Maurencia. And that basically encapsulates Maurencia. It's the spirit, I believe, of the Gillion family, and sometimes we would call it the curse of the Gillion family, where you would take the responsibility onto yourself, even if it is not your responsibility. And that is our strength and sometimes our weakness as well. In the case of the ANC, where the ANC became Maurencia's family, like Nadia told you the other day, my mom told us, "Sy gaan jou nog vreek week vir die ANC." And they would always fight about it, but in the end, they would always laugh about it because that is the person Maurencia was. Sometimes we got jealous of the ANC because they got more time than us. And sometimes we had to fight for Maurencia's attention. But and for that is just the person Maurencia was. Like everybody was making quotes, and this is something that I believe that Maurencia instilled in us, instilled in the kids that currently is in college, and it is something that I also firmly believe in. It's always everything she spoke about came from Tata, and like the education thing that Mandela, it is like education is the great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, that the child of a farm worker can become the president of a great nation. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, that separates one person from another. And I think that is what encapsulates Maurencia. She firmly believed that you are not made by where you come from, but your circumstances create who you are. And you as a person, if you can work through that, you can achieve greatness. And through my sister's eyes, I've seen the good of politics. And through my sister's eyes, I've seen the bad of politics. And if there's one thing that we can leave with you as a family, which Maurencia also, I believe that was a dream, that the ANC come together as one and fight as one and not fight amongst each other, which will turn this country into the great country that it was and the great country that it can become. Thank you.
Baie dankie. Thank you for those words, Comrade Grant. Thank you, comrades. We're going to close the session with Long live the fighting spirit of Comrade Maurencia. Long live.
Long live.
A phenomenal woman. Rest in peace, our friend, our comrade. Thank you, comrades. That has been the program for tonight. We want to bid you farewell. Watch the social media. There will be a program this weekend. We want to ask all our comrades that will go to the regional general councils this weekend, as directed by the NEC and the IPC. There will be regional conferences, regional general conferences over this weekend. We ask comrades to observe a moment of silence in commemoration for the life and legacy of Comrade Maurencia. The family will also congregate at the home on Sunday. As Comrade Cameron indicated, there will be a regional event in Houston, a regional memorial led by the branch, the Houston branch, the Nika branch. It will be at the Tucson Center on Tuesday. The provincial event will be on Thursday in Cape Town, venue still to be confirmed. And hopefully the funeral we'll get a state funeral, provincial state funeral next week and Saturday, and she will be laid to rest in a Houston home. Thank you, comrades. The meeting is closed.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you and good night. Thank you, comrades. Thank you.